So in this section, we're talking about dividing. So I'm going to rewrite this. You can see this a little better. We're taking 28x squared minus 30x minus 18, and we're dividing that by 7x plus 3. So because of this squared right here, this breaks into two factors. And we know one of the factors is 7x plus 3. So it's asking us for this factor. What's the other factor? So I know 28x squared minus 30x minus 18 is factored form to 7x plus 3 times something else. So we could divide, and we'll do that later, but for now I'm going to use our multiplying method, right? So I know that when I multiply this and this, I get 28x squared. So I need another x here, and then I want you to think 7 times what number equals 28? 4. See, so 7 times 4 is 28, x times x is x squared. And then we're going to multiply this right here, whatever this number is, we don't know. Let me rewrite this down here. So then we're going to be adding something else, but we don't know what it is. And then we do this, remember? So then I would have 3 times 4 plus 12x. And then I know that this last number needs to be negative 18, right? So 3 times what is negative 18? 3 times negative 6. So now I can finish. I can go 7 times negative 6 is negative 42x, and then I have the rest of these, right? So what happens? I combine these, and I get 28x squared. Negative 42 plus 12 is negative 30 minus 18. That's this, right? So my other factor up here would be 4x minus 6. And that's our answer, because say I rewrite this whole thing instead of 28x squared, I'm going to write it in factored form. Divided by 7x plus 3. These cancel because they're on a fraction. Any two things divided by themselves are 1, and then we're just left with 4x minus 6. So let's do another one. Okay, I have 14x squared minus 84x minus 98. And I need to get it in factored form. Oops. Sorry, I got in the way. So this is one of our factors, 7x plus 7, and we need to find the other factor. So again, I'm going to go through the multiplying process. 7x times what gives us 14x squared? 2x, because 7 times 2 is 14, and x times x is x squared, right? And then if I keep multiplying, there's something here that we would add. But I don't know what it is, so I'm going to keep going. And then here, 7 times 2x is 14x. And then 7 times something is supposed to give me negative 98. So I have no idea, so I'm going to divide. Negative 98 divided by 7. So 7 times negative 14 is negative 98. So this has to be negative 14 to give me negative 98 out here. Okay, so now let's go back to this one. 7x times negative 14. Oh, 7 times negative 14 is negative 98, and then we have an x. Okay, so if I combine these middle terms, that's where the negative 84x comes in. And then 14x squared minus 98. So this factor, 2x minus 14, is what we would get if we divide those. So another one, we have 10x squared minus 17x minus 20. We know one factor is 5x plus 4, and we need the other one. So 5x times what gives me 10x squared? Well, 5 times 2 is 10, x times x is x squared. And then there's something else here that I'm going to skip. Right? Then we would add another one. And then when you multiply on the bottom, you get plus 8x, and then 4 times what is negative 20? Negative 5. So now that that negative 5's there, we can go back to that one we skipped. 5 times negative 5 is negative 25, and then we have an x. So if I combine those middle two, that's where the negative 17x comes from. And then I'm back to the original. So my answer is this factor that we just found, 2x minus 5. Divide using long division. All right, so long division we learned in like 4th grade, and now we're going to use that with polynomials. So I'm going to write it like we do long division. X minus 6 divided by 4x cubed minus 17x squared minus 55x plus 78. All right. So when we do long division, we're looking at the first term here and the first term here. So we want to times x by something to get 4x cubed. So x times what is 4x cubed? So we have one x and we need two more, so x squared, and then we need the 4. So x times 4x squared is 4x cubed. So this 4x squared comes up here. I'm going to put it above the squared. And now we multiply these. So I take that 4x squared that we just found, and now I'm going to times it by x minus 6, both of those. So 4x squared times 4 times x gives us this. That's what we want. We want those to match. Okay? And then, but we have to keep going. We also have to multiply it by negative 6. So 4 times negative 6 is negative 24x squared. And just like long division, we're going to subtract. I'm going to subtract this and this. So what happens if I subtract a minus? Turns into a plus. So what happens is these signs change after we multiply. Because when we add, those go to 0. And then I have negative 17 plus 24, which is 7. And then x squared. Okay, and just like long division, you bring down the next term. And then we do this whole process over again. So I'm still looking at x. X times what? But now I need it to equal 7x squared. Okay, we want these to be the same, so when we subtract, they're 0. So I have one x, I need one more, and then I need the 7. So x times 7x is 7x squared. The 7x is what goes here, and it's a positive 7x, so I'm going to add it. Okay, so now I'm going to take that 7x and multiply it by both the x and the minus 6, right there. So 7x times x gives me the 7x squared. 7x times negative 6 gives me negative 42x. Then remember, we're subtracting, so that changes to a minus and that changes to a plus. And we get the 0. So negative 55 plus 42. I'm going to do it here just to make sure. Negative 13 x. And then we bring down the 78. And we do it all over again. One more time, because we're on the last term. So I have an x. What do I need to times x by to get negative 13x to get that first term? And this one's not bad. It's negative 13, right? So that's what goes up here. And then we would multiply just like we've been doing. Take that negative 13 times x minus 6, and we get negative 13x. And negative 13 times negative 6 gives us 78. And then when we subtract, we change the sign. So that becomes plus, that becomes minus. They both go to 0. And this number here is not always 0. This is actually the remainder. For this, it's 0, but it's not always. So what we just found is if we take x minus 6 times 4x squared plus 7x minus 13, we would get 4x cubed minus 17x squared minus 55x plus 78. So 4x squared plus 7x minus 13. That's our answer. Long division, it just takes practice. I know it seems like a lot. So we're going to do it again. Okay, so we're dividing this by x minus 7. So x minus 7 divided by 4x cubed minus 26x squared minus 21x plus 49. Okay, so we're going to focus on the x. X times what? I'm going to move this over. So x times what gives you 4x cubed? That one. And it is 4x squared. Then you multiply that 4x squared by both the x and the minus 7. So that's where we get our 4x cubed. And then minus 28x squared. And then we're going to subtract. So we're going to change both the signs. Those go away. That's what you want every time. That's the goal. And then negative 26 plus 28 is 2. And then you bring down the next term. And we do that whole thing over again. So we look at x. We're saying x times what is now 2x squared. So 2x, because we need the 2, and now we have 2 x's. So plus 2x, and we're going to take that 2x and multiply it by both the x and the minus 7. I wrote a 6. That should be a 7. So 2x squared, that's what we want. And then 2 times negative 7 is negative 14x. Okay, and we're going to subtract, so change the signs. Those go away. Woohoo, that's what we want. Negative 21 plus 14 is negative 7x. And then we're going to bring down the last term. And look at that again. So now we have x times what is negative 7x. is negative 7. So take that negative 7 and multiply it by both the x and the negative 7. So negative 7x plus 49, but when we subtract, the signs change, and we get 0 as our remainder. So 4x squared plus 2x minus 7 times x minus 7 gives us that polynomial. That's what we just found out. Alright, so this one's a little different. One of the factors of 16x to the fourth minus 1 is 4x squared plus 1. What are the other factors? So this is actually one that we've done before. This is a difference of squares, but now since we have x to the fourth, our squares are x squareds here. So if I take the square root of 16 and the square root of 1, I get 4 and 1. So we have 4x squared plus 1 minus 1. Right? And that's where this comes from. That's one of our factors. Yeah. So the other factor is 4x squared minus 1. And this is a difference of squares again because we're missing the x in the middle. But this time, now we have a squared here. It's just x and x. But we're going to do the same process. Square root, square root. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 1 is 1. So 2x plus 1 minus 1. It's right here. So that one, difference of squares twice. Alright, this one, we have an x in the middle. We're dividing. But it doesn't say use long division, so I'm going to take what we know. We know 21x squared minus 27x minus 30. One of the factors is 7x plus 5. It's asking us for the second factor. So I'm just going to go through the multiplication process. 7x times 3x is 21x squared. I don't know what that is. I'm going to skip it. But 5 times 3 is 15x, and then 5 times negative 6 is negative 30. So I need negative 30. That's why I picked negative 6. Okay, now I can go back to the one I skipped. 7 times negative 6 is negative 42x. So when I add these together, that's where the negative 27x comes from. And I still have minus 6. I still have 21x squared. So my answer is 3x minus 6. It's that second factor. And that's where we're going to stop.